Hello friends, I'm Lakshmikant and welcome back to my YouTube channel Let's Learn to Shine. Today, dear student, I'm going to talk about the poem by Donne, Go and Catch the Falling Star. Dear friends, this poem explores a traditional and misogynistic literary themes of Donne's era. Okay, and this poem raised an issue of women's inconsistency. He talks about the metaphysical conceit, or with the help of metaphysical conceit he compares the character, compares the nature, compares the truthfulness and the honesty with different images, different things. Okay, so we will try to understand and enjoy the poem. Look at the first stanza, where we can find some features of metaphysical school of poetry. We can find the argument and analysis in this poem. We can also understand the emotional quality of Donne and the intellectual thoughts that has been used by the poet. Also, we will see and try to explore the use of metaphysical conceit, and we will also try to enjoy the richness of ideas in this stanza. Okay, so we try to find out the reason of writing this kind of poem, means his experiences, his personal experiences, or his situation that he faced in his life, and we will try to understand how he has opened his poem, that is known as abrupt opening. And he has also used the colloquial language to write his poem. So all these features we can find in this poem, and we can believe that this is a true metaphysical poem. Okay, so let's see and enjoy the poem. Let us see the stanza number 1. There are 7 metaphysical conceit has used by the poet in the first stanza. Number 1, let me read the first stanza first. Ki go and catch the falling star, get with a child of mandrake root, tell me where all past years are, or who cleft the devil's foot. Teach me to hear mermaids singing, or to keep off envy stinging, and find what wind serves to an honest mind. So there are 7 images has used by the poet. Number 1 is you have to find out the falling star, you have to catch the falling star, you have to also find out or to create a child from the mandrake root, and mandrake is a goddess of beauty, love, virtue. Okay, so you have to create a child from that root, he says. Number 3, you have to also find out the bygone days or the past years that you have already lived in your life. He also asks you to find out the devil's foot, or he asks to the reader that to find out who has slipped or split the devil's foot. और वो फिर बोलता है कि यू शुड टीच मी टू हियर मरमेड सिंगिंग, कि मरमेड के सिंगिंग जो जलपरी होती है उसके गाने को मुझे कैसे सुनना है वो आपको मुझे बताना है, और टू कीप ऑफ एनवी स्टिंगिंग, कि जो जेलसी होती है, जो द्वेष नाम की भावना होती है हमारे अंदर, उसको हमको बाजू में रख के लाइफ सर्वाइव करना है. और 7th पोजीशन में वो बोलता है कि आई एंड फाइंड व्हाट विंड सर्व्स टू एन ऑनेस्ट माइंड. पूरे जीवन में आपको ऑनेस्ट माइंड के साथ में जीवन काल बिताना है. तो ऐसे 7 इमेजेस को, मीन्स go and catching falling star, create a mandrake root, to find out the bygone days, to find out a person who has split the devil's foot. You have to teach me the mermaid singing, and just to keep off, just throw out the envy from your life, and to live with a honest mind. So these are the 7 images, these are the 7 metaphysical conceit he has used in the first stanza to compare the character of women, to compare the inconsistency of women. And by using these images, these concepts, he says कि these impossible tasks as difficult as to find out the beautiful and the truthful woman in anyone's life. because nobody can do these tasks. If you try to catch the star, it's very difficult. If you go and find out the Mandrake root, it is again quite difficult. When you talk about the Mandrake root, you must remember the Harry Potter's movie. So in that movie, you can find out the reference or the image, or you can say the plant of Mandrake root. Okay, so this is how he has explained and talks about in the first stanza in this poem. Let us see the next stanza. Or just for a second, in the next slide we will talk about the various figure of speeches, for example metaphor, assonance, alliteration और various poetic devices he has used in this poem. तो चलिए फिर देखते हैं और पता करते हैं कि यहाँ पे कौन कौन से poetic devices का use किया है. So in the first stanza we can say that it is a dramatic monologue. Basically it is a love poem. Okay, so when you study John Donne, you will find that there are two kinds of poems he has written. One is love poem and one is divine poem, means some kind of religious poem. So this poem can be considered as a love poem, and it is also a dramatic monologue where the speaker is addressing to the unknown audience, to the unknown listener. Okay, there are so many figure of speeches, as I already said. Number one is assonance. In the first opening line of this stanza, you will find that the go and catch a falling star. So there is a, what is assonance? Assonance is a repetition of internal vowel sound in a words that do not end with the same. Okay, so here the repetition of a vowel you can find in this stanza, in this line. So go and catch a falling star is the best example of assonance. Okay, so we will see another one. In the first stanza you will find the use of metaphor where two objects are compared between each other. If you go into the details, you will find that falling of angel refers to the falling of Lucifer, who fell from the heaven to hell because of the betrayal of God. Okay, so that is another reference is added here for your information. Another important thing is that he has used various imageries. For example, कि जब भी वो फॉलिंग स्टार की बात करता है तो वो जो शूटिंग स्टार होता है, वो जो फॉलिंग स्टार होता है, वो हमारे सामने, हमारी नज़रों के सामने आता है. सो दैट इज नोन एज विजुअल इमेजरी. ही ऑल्सो यूज्ड सेजुरा. सेजुरा क्या होता है दोस्तों, कि इट इज़ अ पॉज विच इज़ अ रिदमिकल पॉज इन अ पोएटिक लाइन और इन अ सेंटेंस. कि जैसे लास्ट की जो लाइन हमने देखी थी कि जहाँ पे एंड फाइंड व्हाट विंड सर्व्स टू एडवांस इन ऑनेस्ट माइंड, ऐसे कुछ जो लाइन वो यूज़ करता है हर स्टांजा के बाद में. 3 स्टांजा है, हर स्टांजा के लास्ट लाइन में जो 7 और 8 लाइन है वो हमको ऐसे शॉर्ट लाइन जो है वो सेजुरा करके हम समझ सकते हैं. John Donne continues his thought in the second stanza also. In the second stanza he says कि if thou best born to strange sight, things invisible to see, ride then 10,000 days and night, till age snow white hairs on thee. Thou when thou returnest wilt tell me all strange wonders that befell thee, and swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. Dear friends, in this stanza, John Donne says कि if a person who is born with strange supernatural power or the magical or enchanting or divine power, use that power to ride 10,000 days and night. Okay, with that power you have to go for a journey, go for a travel for 27 years in search of a woman who is true and fair. दोस्तों, इस स्टांजा में वो बोलता है कि अगर किसी के पास ऐसी ताकत है, ऐसी सुपरनेचुरल पावर है, ऐसी मैजिकल पावर है, तो उसने 27 साल मतलब 10,000 डेज एंड नाइट तक अपने जो ब्लैक हेयर्स है उसको वाइट होने तक, टिल द स्नो वाइट हेयर्स ऑन दी, तब तक उसको जर्नी करना है. और वो जब रिटर्न आएगा, दाउ व्हेन दाउ रिटर्नस्ट विल टेल मी, वो जब रिटर्न आएगा कि आफ्टर रिटर्निंग ही शुड टेल मी अबाउट हिज एक्सपीरियंसेस ऑफ स्ट्रेंज हैपनिंग्स इन हिज लाइफ. ओके, सो वो बोलता है कि यू शुड टेल मी ऑल स्ट्रेंज वंडर्स दैट बिफेल दी, जो तुमने फेस किए हैं, जो तुमने अनुभव किए हैं, और मुझे एक वचन लेके बताओ कि एंड स्वेयर नो वेयर लिव्स अ वुमेन ट्रू एंड फेयर. तो दोस्तों इसमें देखिए जॉन डन क्या बोलते हैं कि अगर तुम्हारे पास कुछ पावर है, सुपरनेचुरल क्वालिटीज है, तो तुमने 27 साल की जर्नी करना है. कब तक? जब तक तुम्हारे ब्लैक हेयर्स वाइट नहीं हो जाते, मतलब तुम्हारी उम्र जब तक बढ़ती नहीं है, बढ़ नहीं जाती. और इसमें देखिए एक विजुअल इमेजरी क्रिएट करता है कि वाइट हेयर्स ऑन दी, मतलब तुम्हारे बाल जब तक पक नहीं जाते, मतलब बुढ़ापा जब तक नहीं आता तब तक तुमको वो काम जारी रखना है. और जब तुमको मिलेगी तो तुम्हें मुझे आके बताना है कि ऐसी कोई भी चीज़ अवेलेबल नहीं है, ऐसी कोई भी स्त्री अवेलेबल नहीं है जो ट्रू है और फेयर भी है, मतलब ब्यूटीफुल भी है. तो इस स्टांजा में यू कैन फाइंड द रिपीटेशन ऑफ द फर्स्ट लेटर, राइट? व्हाट इज दैट? कि इन द ओपनिंग लाइन ऑफ द स्टांजा, if thou best born to strange sight, so repetition of the vowel sound, consonant sound is there. You can see b in best and born starts with b later. So this is a best example of alliteration. Okay, now let's see the third stanza. In the last stanza, John Donne is little bit soft in his nature, and he says कि if my listener, my audience, my student if a person, he says कि if thou findest one, let me know. Such pilgrimages were sweet, yet do not, I would not go, though at the next door we might meet. Though she were true when you made her, and last till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come 2 or 3. Now see, my dear student, in this third stanza he is talking about the nature of a woman, and he asked to his reader कि ठीक है भैया, अगर तुमको मिल भी गई, कि if thou findest one, अगर तुमको एक वुमेन मिल भी गई तो मुझे जरूर बताना, let me know. Such pilgrimages were so sweet, कि ये जो तुमने 27 साल की यात्रा की थी, पिलग्रिमेज की थी, वो बहुत ही सुखद थी, अनुभव देने वाली थी. Yet do not, I would not go, he says. Here the poet says that कि going to meet her is just like a holy pilgrimage. In spite of that, the poet will not like to go to meet her, and he would not even to do if she is living at the next door of his house. Okay, in his mohalla, in his area, you can say. So he says कि thou she were true when you meet her. Now देखिए दोस्तों, यहाँ पे कैसे थोड़ा सा पैराडॉक्सिकल, बहुत ही एक ब्लेम इंसल्टिंग लैंग्वेज शायद जॉन डन यूज करता है. वो बोलता है कि thou she were true when you meet her, and last till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come 2 or 3. मतलब क्या कि यहाँ पे देखिए कि दाउ, ये देखिए यहाँ पे दोस्तों चौथी लाइन देखिए, द फोर्थ लाइन, इट सेज कि वी माइट मीट. नाउ ही हैज कंसिडर्ड द लिसनर एज हिज ओन सपोर्टर. Okay, and he says कि woman is now isolated, we together, me and my listener are trying to talk about or trying to discuss the issue of a woman who is living in a solitude, who is not true. Okay, वो बोलता है कि thou she were true when you met her. वो बोलता है कि जब तुम उसको मिले थे तब वो शायद ट्रू थी, ब्यूटीफुल थी, फेथफुल थी, ऑनेस्ट थी. ओके, और वो फिर बोलता है कि एंड लास्ट टिल यू राइट योर लेटर, कि जब तुम लेटर लिखने बैठे मुझे बताने के लिए, लेटर लिखने के लिए बैठे, तब तब वो क्या बोलता है कि यहाँ पे देखिए, शी वुड बिकम फॉल्स बिफोर रीच्ड देयर। मतलब वो लेटर मुझ तक पहुंचने के पहले वो किसी दूसरे के साथ, किसी तीसरे के साथ भाग गई होगी, या उसके रिलेशन उसके साथ में जुड़ चुके होंगे। तो इस तरह से जॉन डन एक पोएम में वुमेन के इनकंसिस्टेंसी के बारे में, वुमेन के नेचर के बारे में, कैरेक्टर के बारे में बात करता है, और बहुत सारे इमेजरीज वहाँ पे यूज़ करता है, बहुत सारे मेटाफिजिकल कंसीट भी यूज़ करता है, जिसके कारण ये पोएम बहुत ही इंटेलेक्चुअल एज वेल एज मोर इंटरेस्टिंग बनती है, जैसे कि हमने अभी देखा है। तो इसके टोन में हम देखेंगे दोस्तों, यहाँ पे बहुत सारे टोन भी यूज किए कि एज पर द सिचुएशन ही हैज चेंज्ड हिज टोन। ओके, सो लेट्स सी एंड एंजॉय द टोन। So talking about the tone of John Donne, in the first opening line, "Go and catch the falling star," he is little bit magical in his tone. Okay, so his tone or his magical tone turn into the second line, into the harsh and cruel way. Okay, he says, "Ki get with a child a mandrake root." Now see the magic of his mood and tone. Then he says कि he is little bit self-pitying when he says to keep off envy stinging. Okay, then he continues and says कि he is little bit moody, कि I would not go. In the last stanza says कि I would not go. छोटे बच्चे की तरह वो बोलता है कि अगर वो मुझे मिल भी गई तो मैं उसके घर मिलने नहीं जाऊंगा. I would not go, thou at the next door we might meet. Then he says he is little bit commanding, ordering, bossy, कि go, get, tell, teach. These words shows that he is commanding to his listener, to his audience. Okay, then he says कि tone is little bit helpful. तीसरे स्टांजा में वो बोलता है कि ठीक है भैया, तुमको मिल भी गई तो मुझे बताना. If thou findest one, let me know. ये थोड़ा सा होपफुल और केयरिंग टोन वो अपने यहाँ पे यूज करता है. और लास्ट में his tone become very sore when he says, the last lines of this poem says कि yet she will be false ere I come to or thee. It means he is not confident, he is not sure about the truthfulness and the honesty of a woman who is found by his audience, his listener. Okay, so this is how he's making some objections, making some argument and analysis of a woman in this poem. Okay, so this is how the poem goes on. Let us talk about the themes of the poem, or the central idea of the poem. As I have already said, this poem is talking about, or John Donne talks about, the feminine inconsistency, that in other words, a lack of fidelity of woman. And according to the John Donne, no woman who is both true and fair and can be, or that cannot be traced anywhere. Okay, so this is well stuck in the last two lines. Means if you find the last lines of the second stanza, you will find he is very much confident. He is little bit concrete in his thoughts. He says कि nowhere lives a woman true and fair. And in the last stanza, in the third stanza also, we find the same thought, कि even if a woman be found true and fair, she will change her nature, she will change herself, she will change her character and prove false in no time. Right? So he says कि yet she will be false ere I come to or thee. Okay, so this is how we can find, or we can point out the themes in this poem.